So how can you practice speaking skills, audio feedback, and role plays asynchronously? So I think there are lots of different solutions for this. But what I've tried to do in the masterclass is to pinpoint, in my opinion, that the easiest and the most simple ways of doing this. So obviously other tools which also allow you to record audio, to share it. I could mention, things such as OneNote or Class Notebook, or there's a Chrome extension called Mote, for example, which is also really nice for audio feedback. But with the masterclass, what I thought I would focus on are tools such as Vocaroo, SpeakPipe, and Record MP3 Online, which allow you to record audio straight in the browser without requiring the students to use any sort of login, which is obviously really good from a data protection point of view, and can share the link with you very simply and easily, either via email, or you could create a Google form or Microsoft form and ask them to submit the link into that form, and then you will be able to generate an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, which will then have all the links all in the same place, and you can ask the students to put their names in as well, and then order them alphabetically. So I think from the point of view of ways of practicing speaking skills, so you would do all the standard rehearsing in the classroom or asking the students to practice at home. But the great thing about these sorts of tools is you can then record their answers. You can then use that from a progression point of view. You can ask them to then look back at the recordings they made, say 6 months before, listen to those, and then see how they can improve on them in the future. But I think certainly for, say, role plays, asynchronous role plays, I think quicker conversations is a really, really useful way of being able to do that. I'm sure there are other solutions out there, but in my opinion, that along with Flipgrid, which I didn't talk about today, are great ways in which you can practice conversations and role plays asynchronously. How can you make online listening and speaking activities more creative? So I think to answer this question, I think that anything which encourages the students to create their own content, to make it as relevant as possible to things that they're naturally interested in, be it football or films or popular musicians, if you can incorporate those sorts of people into the resources that you make. So instead of doing, let's say, a classic daily routine about yourself, get them to do a daily routine about someone who they like and admire, which, as I said, could be a musician or a movie star or what have you. I think getting them to create their own images is another way of being able to get them to practice creativity. So that could be through a number of different drawing applications. I mentioned autodraw.com in the presentation, which is a great way of being able to draw a picture, which is then can be replaced as a professional piece of clip art, which you can then use to then incorporate within Wheel of Names. You could get the students to make their own Wheel of Names if you wanted them to, giving them that sense of ownership. Or there's a number of other tools that you could use to get them to practice drawing, such as whiteboard.fi, which we haven't looked at in today's session. But I think anything which encourages them to practice themselves, to make the content as relevant as possible by harnessing their natural interests in the world around them, that's a great way of encouraging them to be creative around listening and speaking activities.